Okay, so my plans are here for this morning is to talk a little bit about NEU and what we've been up to since the last convention. I don't know that we do a great job of communicating it, but we do a lot behind the scenes, and we try and let everyone know what we're doing because there's a lot going on, obviously, with carbon neutral concrete. So the mission of NEU, just as a refresher, is to drive education, awareness, and adoption of the use of carbon neutral concrete materials and technologies, and I like to modify that a little bit and say appropriate use. That's kind of what we're about at NEU. As a Center of Excellence, we're about implementation and seeing things happen, get implemented. We know we're already behind the 8 ball as far as getting things out to market. And I'll talk a little bit more about that in my presentation today. And the appropriate adoption, of course, relates to our validation and verification program, which I'm happy to report. We've run one client through our validation and verification program to date. So last month, we had our very first one. We're currently piloting our program. So we're kind of taking things on a case-by-case basis with respect to running them through. Once we get through with probably 2 or 3 validation clients, we'll open it up to any applications and so forth. So do want to thank ACI, of course, for their forethought of creating NEU. They are our founding member and supporter, a big supporter of NEU. In case you don't know, our organization is a separate legal organization, separate membership, separate board of directors, separate staff from ACI, but we work very closely with ACI, of course, and are supported through their some sharing of staff and so forth. So it's a great relationship. Additional members, of course, is Meta. Meta is a state sustaining member, as well as supporting members Baker Concrete Construction and Breakthrough Energy. So again, we thank them. And of course, we have other members as well. We do have some in the room, so thank you to our members like Primex and so forth. So AOE, Stone Coat, Ash Grove, Primex, Heidelberg, Carbon Built, CNTech, Ecosem, Carbicrete. These folks I consider to be our brain trust, the folks that have a stake in this industry, trying to get out there and promote their products. We've also added 2 additional allied organizations since the last convention. The first is American Society of Concrete Contractors. We need the contractors involved in the conversation because oftentimes they're the ones who don't get to make the decisions as to what materials are used on the job site, yet they're there to place it and deal with potential issues with field placement and so forth. And also the American Council for Energy Efficient Economy, ACEEE. So thank you to those organizations. And of course, our staff, I always want to give credit to our staff. We're small and nimble, and if you see us walking around, some of us are in the room, please say hello. And if you have any questions or suggestions for us, please stop us and let us know. So recent highlights and accomplishments. I feel like I've been running a gauntlet since the last convention. I'm going to touch upon COP28 and our state-of-the-art materials and technology survey. But I was at the ACI Middle East Conference in Saudi, Big 5 Global in Dubai back in December. We are continued to receive support from Breakthrough Energy, so thank you to those folks. We submitted a grant proposal to the EPA. I think everyone on this earth has submitted a proposal to them, at least within the concrete industry, which is great to see. So my understanding is they received over 100 grant proposals, and they're delaying their announcement of who's going to get these grants because they've received so many, apparently. So I hope that they're going to put out another call for proposals. I mentioned that we did our first verification statement, so that's great. We're working on our quality management system because ultimately we want to get accredited under ISO 17029, which really drives the way that we operate as a validation and verification organization. There's webinars on the ABCs of concrete sustainability recorded on ACI University if you're interested. We also have those posted on our website. I still remain involved with FIB. Of course, Koji and I are involved in FIB fairly heavily. World of Concrete, we had a press conference there. Dr. Larry Sutter and I, pictured here, we spoke at the University of Miami with the FISEM and FIHP workshop. That's basically the Latin American organizations on cement and concrete and ready mix. Triannual, or the Tri-Service Pavement Transportation meeting took place at the Federal Center in Denver. This was a meeting attended by Army, Navy, and Air Force pavement and airfield engineers. 120 folks attended this meeting, and we heard from Jeb from ERDC, and it was good to hear that they are very interested. The military and the government, U.S. government, is very interested in EPDs. There's a big concern about getting beyond cradle to gate and getting into the use phase. So there's a lot of discussion about, to me, I thought this was very interesting because I kind of focus on buildings and structures, but they're talking about pavements and airfields. You know, what is the use phase and operational energy and emissions associated with that and so forth. So it's very interesting. They are full steam ahead regardless of what administration is in office, so that I thought that was very good to hear. We've established a date for our next summit. So I'm sorry to say that this is invitation only, but I will tell you that we had our first summit last September. We focused on federal initiatives, and we had organizations, NGOs, new members, and then 4 federal agencies in the room where we discussed how we can help and facilitate collaboration between everyone in the room. We're going to do the same thing in May this year in California, UC Davis on May 23rd. We're going to focus on state initiatives this time. So fall we'll focus on federal, spring, state. I kind of like that, a little alliterative there. I expect that to fill up very quickly. We've been working on a website, of course, so please visit our website. There's a lot of really good information there. Appreciate Carrie's assistance. We're working on the Outlook 2020 or 2040 task group. This is basically ACI's strategic plan looking forward as to what should ACI be focusing on, who do they want to be in 2040 or 2050. Of course, there's a big sustainability component involved with that. If you were in the lunch yesterday, you saw a presentation from Anna Aday from NREL, National Renewable Energy Lab, located in Golden, Colorado. They're going to have a workshop this summer at the end of July, and we're going to be involved with that as well and sponsor that and provide speakers. That one is also invitation only, so pay close attention to your email inbox. We did host a NIST Low Carbon Concrete, Cement, and Concrete Consortium meeting yesterday, so thanks for those folks who attended and who are members of that organization. If you're not a member, please see me and I can tell you how you can apply and be a member of that consortium. I think there's 46 members right now, member organizations. And you can look for a standing article from us in the Concrete International magazine in every issue, at least a short blurb. So I want to talk a little bit about COP28. We were lucky enough to be there, honestly. It was like pulling teeth actually getting in the door, and ultimately we were able to get in, not only get in, but also be in the blue zone, which is where all the delegates are. But if you don't know what COP28 is, I'll tell you a little bit about it. So COP28 refers to the United Nations Climate Change Conference, which took place in Dubai from the 30th of November to the 12th of December. So what's the Conference of Parties? COP, that's what COP stands for. So Conference of Parties is the parties of the convention. Well, what convention? I'm like, okay, whatever. Convention? Oh, the Convention of the Paris Agreement of 2015. So that's the convention. And so what was the Paris Agreement? Basically, all the parties agreed to a goal, which is to limit the temperature increase to 1.5 degrees C above pre-industrial averages. I'm sorry to report that according to the World Meteorological Association, we may have exceeded that already last year. So I guess it lends more urgency to what we're talking about here today. So as an event attended by about 80,000 people, I would describe it in one word as overwhelming. COP28 was very overwhelming, but well worth it. We were there. We collaborated with GCCA, the Global Cement and Concrete Association. We thank them. We were hosted in their pavilion, and there's a picture of us in the pavilion with the comically huge mock-up of ACI 323 low carbon concrete code. But we unveiled it there. We again had access to the blue zone, so it was very good. I saw John Kerry, ran into Hillary Clinton, and it was odd to me. It's just, these folks just walking around amongst us. No security detail is kind of crazy, but so we're there to promote ACI 323, which goes to public comment on the 31st of this month. So if you have anything to say about that code, please feel free. They'll love it. They'll love thousands of public comments. So in addition to the main COP presidency events where they do all the negotiations, and I sat in some of those, it was pretty interesting. There's literally hundreds of concurrent side events, and that's what we were involved in, is the side events. And if you walked into any of these buildings, hundreds of panel discussions going on at the same time. It was incredible. The cool thing about it, though, is I think the concrete industry is finally being viewed upon as a solution instead of a part of the problem. And I think, to me, that's a huge step. Because for a long time, I felt like the concrete industry was just getting bashed over the head. And, we're going to replace concrete with wood. No, you're not. You're never going to replace concrete. It is an essential part of civilized society. So finally, I think people got it in their minds that they understood that, and we're here to help. Some of the takeaways that I have personally from the COP28 is they did the global stock take. So the global stock take is basically where all the parties report on their progress towards meeting the goals of the Paris Agreement. And by and large, all the parties are off track, meaning they're behind. So that lends more urgent action is necessary in order to reduce CO2 emissions. I think we all knew that already. So this was kind of confirmation of that reality. There was also, surprisingly, a call on governments to speed up the transition away from fossil fuels. And in Dubai, the presidency of COP for that particular meeting was run by a fossil fuel company executive. So they actually had to stay long, a couple days extra to get to this agreement, but it happened. There were literally protests right outside of our building from folks saying we need to move away from fossil fuel. Another protest that actually took place in our building was one against the use of carbon capture and storage, which is a little disconcerting because as an industry, the concrete industry, we need to rely on carbon capture and storage as a lever to make the transition. It's not going to be permanent, but we need it. GCCA identified CCS as a 30% contributor to making our progress towards carbon neutrality. So as an industry, we might be looked upon negatively because we're relying on this, but we have to. And so we're going to make that transition and get beyond it. So it was interesting. It was a very interesting meeting. So our focus, obviously because of the urgency necessary to meet the Paris Agreement, just lends more credence to the mission of NEU and the need for finding and identifying methodologies and quickly evaluating those methodologies for potential carbon reduction in the cement and concrete industry. The good news is ACI and NEU are focused on this, and there's a picture of Tony, big grin on his face. He told me that this is one of the things that he wanted to do during his presidency, is announce the publication of ACI Code 323 on low carbon concrete. Looks like it's going to happen. Like I said before, it's in public comment, so it's already been through TAC. All the negatives have been resolved, so really it's just a matter of time before that code gets published. So the other thing I wanted to talk about is our survey that we're doing right now, and this is still in progress, so I don't have a lot of details to divulge to you today, but I want to tell you what we're doing because it's really exciting to me. We've spent a lot of time and effort on this. I call it the state-of-the-art survey because it's kind of a snapshot as to what's out there and what's coming. So we just finished our phase one. Again, we're basically trying to figure out what types of low carbon materials and technologies are available now, and then what types of materials and technologies will be available soon. What are their challenges? We're here to help them. So, the whole goal here is how do we help them get out to market? Again, NEU's mission is to see action. We're not an academic organization. We're not constrained by the consensus code process. I'm not going to say like ACI is, but they are. They have to. The code consensus process is an important thing for building credibility, but thankfully we have access to that, but we aren't constrained by it either. So we identified about 100 companies globally that offer some sort of material or technology related to carbon reduction. We culled that list down to about a little over 50 companies. We took out the ones that aren't producing a material at this point, more of a research project. We only looked at those available domestically in the United States or North America, and that was like 52 or something like that. And then we just hounded them. And I have to thank Mary Christensen, who isn't here. She's the chair of Committee 242, but she was relentless in identifying the right person within the company and then just hitting them hard with filling out our survey. And we actually have two parts of this survey. Part A, I tried to make it short and sweet so that people would actually fill it out. Part B, though, which is our next phase, is a little bit more in-depth. It's going to take at least an hour for someone to fill that out, if they even know the answers to the questions. And we're going to go back and hit all those 100 companies and those within the group of 50 that responded to Survey A and get them fill out B. Actually, we already have 8 or 9 that already filled out Survey B. So general information, who are they? What's the market availability and supply chain information? How do they classify their product or material? What are their environmental claims? Do they relate to any existing standards, or do they need a new standard to be developed that might address their material or technology? How much does it cost? Of course, that's an important aspect. Part B, we delve into more information, business and development questions about, if they're a startup, where are they in funding, seeding? Are they, what are their challenges? Again, we kind of get into what are the gaps out there? How can we help their challenges? Again, their environmental claims, and then we really get into the performance, both fresh concrete performance and hardened concrete. Of course, long-term performance is still one of those things that's up in the air with some of these materials, so that's kind of the big question mark at this point, but there are test methods that you can at least estimate a long-term performance, which is good. So getting into what we're going to do next, we're going to, again, take a look at that list. We're adding companies to that list daily. So there's so many companies out there right now that are offering different solutions, which is great to hear. This is a really exciting time to be a part of the concrete industry. If you haven't figured that out. There's a lot of opportunities for us to be part of the solution to this issue, and show that concrete is not this old school technology, but very relevant to today's issues. We're going to add to that list the international companies, of course, that we culled from the initial round, and get them to fill out Part B. So these are the folks that filled out the survey. I want to thank everyone who took the time to do this, and hopefully they'll fill out Part B. That's the hope, right? So if you if you offer a material or technology and you're not listed on this screen, please see me and we'll get you a copy of this, a link to the survey so you can fill it out. We again appreciate everyone's time who took, the folks who took time to fill this out. There's a lot of really, really good information, and ultimately we will be divulging that. Right now we don't have explicit permission to divulge the information that we've got from them, but we also did not tell them we would keep it confidential. So out of common courtesy, we're just keeping it quiet at the moment until at least we finish this thing. But really, really good information that we're getting. So, obviously company name, contact name, email. This was actually pretty hard to figure out. The simplest things, who do you talk to? Who's going to have answers to these technical questions that we have? That was a big challenge. We actually have those contact people now, so I'm really happy about that. So some of the questions we ask, indicate their level of business development. Are they research only, early stage startup, venture, or do they have actually commercially available material? When was it started? It's interesting to see when these folks started these companies. Some of them have been around for a while. What is their TRL level, their technology readiness level? And we based our TRL definitions on NASA's TRLs, but we kind of modified it a little bit. So TRL 1 to 9, 9 meaning full-scale production, 1 meaning, this is just kind of this new thing. A lot of them are in the 4 to 7 range, basically. There's also a lot that are full scale, obviously. There's a lot of existing materials and technologies out there that we can use today. So keep that in mind. We're not just focused on things that are coming down the pike, but we're also interested in what you can use today. Because the fact is there's things that are available today that are still not quite embraced. I mean, how long did it take for fly ash to get embraced? Or now we're dealing with issues with type 1L and Portland limestone cement. So we're going to hold a workshop at some point and kind of do a postmortem on the PLC issues, just so that we understand that there needs to be a framework for rolling out technologies into the marketplace, because surely PLC is not going to be the first. We got LC3 coming along. There's going to be others. We need to make sure that everyone's on the same page as far as rolling these things out, because we've got to. We can't, like I said, COP28. We're behind the 8 ball. Responses, the good news is the grand majority of the folks that we surveyed have product that's available now, 53%. The other 2023 to 26, another big chunk, I don't remember what that number is, and then 27 to 30. So within the next 6 years, basically everyone has said that they're going to have something on the streets, which is good to hear. So we kind of broke things up as far as the country is concerned. Again, this initial survey was focused on domestic and U.S. So this is a map that NRMCA developed, so we just borrowed it. But we asked them, is it available now? If so, where? So they told us which regions it was available, and then we asked, in 5 years, where do you expect your product to be available? Which is, a lot of them think they're going to go national in about 5 years, which is good. Again, good. So what's the brand name? Where is it being produced? How much are you producing is a big question. If it's a thimbleful, it's probably not going to be helpful. We're looking for stuff that's scalable, obviously, right? But we're also not discounting anything, because right now we haven't identified the silver bullet. There's not one material or technology that's going to solve this issue. So what raw materials or waste streams do they rely on? Because obviously that's going to be a supply chain issue. Are there known variabilities with the supply chain? And some of them have identified those. What type of technology? So this is probably not surprising. Most of them are binders or SCMs. That's the grand majority of the folks that are out there promoting materials or technologies. Of course, there's other materials as well, admixtures, reinforcement, aggregates, and some are even offering one-stop shops with full mixes, so that's good to see. We asked for a brief, easy to understand summary. Explain this on layman's terms as far as what you're doing and offering. So again, that's really good. We asked for something that wasn't technical. And what sort of application? Is it ready mix, precast, concrete masonry units, manufactured concrete, or other types of concrete materials? And then the components within a structure, what would it be applied to? Whether it's slabs, structural footings, and so forth. And then we asked, what do you have in hand that supports your environmental claim? So, in a perfect world, that would be something along the lines of an LCA or an EPD, or at least testing data from an accredited laboratory. We're specifically asking what their global warming potential is, or the global warming potential reduction, and if they have any other environmental claims, because let's face it, if we're going through a transition in materials and technologies, hopefully we get something that actually improves upon our current concrete durability and long-term characteristics. So I'm hopeful here, right? Does it meet any of the ASTM specs? This is probably a big gap that we're going to try and figure out what to do. We have a MOU with ASTM to try and grease the skids as far as getting things through, but anyone in this room ever sit through ASTM meetings or a member of ASTM, it's like watching sausage get made. It's very slow and kind of gross. But anyway, so these are the test methods that we've listed and said, does it meet any of these? If not, do you need help getting it into ASTM? And then cost. So cost, some companies are willing to pay for the premium that might be there. Others may not be. So, this is an issue that I think we need to pay attention to. There might be an initial cost premium up front, but over time it'll diminish. But anyway, that's our survey. I'm sorry I don't have more details to tell you right now, but we're right in the middle of this thing, and it's really exciting. It's taken a lot of our time, and I again appreciate Mary Christensen with University of Minnesota Duluth for helping us out with this project. So I'll end it here.